What's happening, squad? It's your boy AJ here, and it's time for me to come at you again with another one of those classic Prince thoughts. Guess what? It is Prince's birthday. That would be June 7th of 2021. We want to say happy birthday to you, my man, and what better way to kick it off than to have some discussion about you. What I would like to talk to you about today is I would like to talk to you about the 4 movies that Prince made during his career. Not only was Prince a hellified musician, but then he got on the idea that he was going to make 4 motion pictures. So obviously he broke down the door with his very first one right out the gate. That was the seminal movie Purple Rain. Purple Rain was that movie that took Prince from the star he was and turned him into a superstar. I don't even believe that, I believe he thought in his mind it was going to be great, but I don't think the world around him understood what was about to happen. Let me set the stage, got a little notes here. He dropped that movie in 1984. It was directed by Albert Magnoli. It starred Prince, Apollonia Kotero, The Revolution, The Time, and Clarence Williams III. And he was the only bona fide true actor in the movie. And you know how pivotal that is right now? Yesterday, on June 6th, Clarence Williams III died. We know, us old heads know him as Link from the Mod Squad. The new guys know him as, in Sugar Hill, he was Wesley, and my boy, I want to say David Ruffin when he played the Temptations part. But Leon, I think was his name, from Sugar Hill. That was a great movie. Clarence Williams III, incredible character actor, and his life work will be discussed, but he will forever be remembered as Prince's dad in the movie Purple Rain. So Clarence Williams III and family, we salute you, man. You put your mark out there. This movie had a $7.2 million budget, and it grossed $80 million. This little cat up out of Minneapolis, working on his 6th album, decides he's going to do a movie. All these untrained people, basically all his friends, threw him in a movie, and they grossed $80 million. Did you hear me? Crazy thing, the soundtrack went double diamond. Diamond is 10 million records sold. Prince sold over 25 million copies of the soundtrack worldwide. It was filmed, quite a bit of it, at First Avenue. Prince paid First Avenue $100,000 to close it down for 25 days so they could film there. And subsequently, that ended up helping to put First Avenue on the map, making it a tourist destination and a place where a lot of bands came into play. I went to Minneapolis in 2019 and did my own sojourn to Paisley Park in Prince's area. I stayed right across the street from the infamous First Avenue. I even went there and saw a show. And I can't tell you what it felt like to walk in that space and know that this movie was shot there and that Prince spent a lot of his time there breaking new acts and delivering some music. So it was amazing. And a cool thing that just happened, in 2019, the Library of Congress for the Preservation in the National Film Registry added this movie and said it was because it was culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. So in 1984, he made this movie basically to stretch his own brand. And here now, it is being recognized as a literary work of art for what that movie did. I saw that movie literally 11 times. I saw it in the theaters. I saw it in the drive-ins. And if you never saw Prince live, and at that point I hadn't seen him, I didn't see him until further down on the Love Sexy tour. And that movie showed us, not only was he this incredible performer that we knew him as, but he had a little bit of acting chops, and he was able to portray his image and take his crew around him and elevate him to cult status, if you will, because no one expected that movie to do much. And when that movie did the numbers it did and had the hold on the world it did, it blew our minds. How much of a hold did it have on the world? Check this out. When it dropped, it was the #1 movie of the year. He had the #1 song of the year, which was When Doves Cries. He had the #1 album, which of course was the soundtrack, Purple Rain, all from this project. Incredible. So Prince was riding kind of high. He said, I got this. I'm on to something here. Then he decides to drop this avant-garde movie, and that movie was called Under the Cherry Moon. He dropped that movie in 1986, 2 years after he had dropped Purple Rain. A little bit of problem with this movie in the sense of it started off being directed by Miss Mary Lambert. If you've seen classic Madonna videos, classic Janet Jackson videos back from that era, they were incredible videos. Well, apparently something happened between them, and literally 16 days into filming, she walked off the set. And when she walked off the set, Prince decided he's going to direct the movie himself. Now, you know I love my boy. Look around here. Favorite artist, all right? Listen, Prince was no kind of a true director because he was a musician first. He had a vision, but he was not schooled in all the ways of film. And so some of that movie suffered under those, under his lack of knowledge, if you will. They filmed the movie out in Nice, France. It's spelled nice, but I think they pronounce it Nice. And this movie starred Prince. It starred Jerome as his partner, Tricky. He discovered this young lady, Kristen Scott Thomas, because at that time Prince was dating Susanna Melvoin, who was the twin sister of his guitarist, Wendy Melvoin, in the band. And she was going to be the female lead, but very quickly they found out she couldn't act. So Prince swapped her out with this young lady who was her first real production, and then she went on to be a regular actress out there doing her thing. So you could see at least he had an eye for talent. It also starred Francesca Annis and Steven Berkoff. These were real, Hollywood type actors. So the movie grossed $10 million. I don't know what it cost them to make the movie, but at least we know it grossed them 10. In addition to that, in the opening weekend, it earned $3.1 million. And that weekend, it was ranked number 11 at the domestic box office, and it was number 4 in the weekend releases. And the soundtrack, which was not named Under the Cherry Moon, the soundtrack was named Parade. It went platinum, selling over 1 million copies, and it was fueled by that incredible single that we love called Kiss. That was a smash hit, and on the strength of that, and the movie itself, that helped drive the sales up for that soundtrack. I said soundtrack, it's the album, but it accompanied the movie. One of the cool things about this movie, it marked the first of many collaborations by Prince and the jazz keyboardist, composer, arranger, Mr. Claire Fisher, whose lush orchestral arrangements brought the songs to life, and it prompted Prince to write in his liner notes, with special thanks to Claire Fisher for making brighter the colors black and white. A lot of folks thought he meant because Prince was black and Claire was white, but Under the Cherry Moon was actually shot in black and white. So Prince was alluding to the fact that the music helped bring colors to life even though you're watching a black and white film. And that kind of gave it a little bit of that avant-garde feel to it. The acting was a little choppy, the script was a little choppy. It is at the best, it's a romantic comedy. And if you take Prince out of it and put somebody else in it, it might get a little bit more due to it. But the fact that it was Prince and people wanted to see Purple Rain Part 2, which it was no part of, it was no kind of a musical production. He basically played a couple songs at the piano, and he did a performance of Boys and Girls, but it wasn't like he was performing in concert, and I think that's what turned people off. Me and the crew, we love it. We love it because we just cracked up. The comedy between him and Jerome is out of control. Jerome's nickname is Tricky, so that already tells you they were a couple of gigolos. So, and they were pimping out the women out there on the French Riviera. So it had a nice little comical twist to it. And if you don't believe me, you watch this movie, and there's a pivotal scene with Prince, Jerome, and the leading lady, and they have this commentary on a comet called Rekka Stowe. Remember those words, Rekka Stowe. Rekka Stowe, Rekka Stowe, Rekka Stowe. Watch the movie, you'll understand what it's about. So with the thin plot and you know, not great cinematography done in the movie did not do as well as expected. But like I said, the movie made $10 million, so how bad was it really, right? Then Prince dropped the hammer. I think he was a little miffed about it. So he then dropped Sign of the Times. Sign of the Times was crazy. It was directed by Prince, and it also had an uncredited directing by Mr. Albert Magnoli, who also had directed Purple Rain. So Prince I think he realized he needed to up his ante again. This time he featured his new band. It was more like a performance video, if you will, of all the songs from Sign of the Times. And in this band, it was Prince, it was Miko Weaver on guitar, Levi Caesar Jr. on bass, Bonnie Boyer on vocals and keyboards, Dr. Fink on keyboards, a lone holdout from the Revolution, Eric Leeds on saxophone, Atlanta Bliss on trumpet, Sheila E. sat in the drum chair, Cat Glover danced and sang background vocals, Wally Safford and Greg Brooks did some dancing in the background, and then Sheena Easton had a turn in the video You Got the Look. So what happened with Sign of the Times was he was doing his Sign of the Times tour. This was in 1987, and he literally just made a movie of the concert. But what he did is he also put some segues in and some interludes to tie all these songs together and give it a little bit of a theme. That's what made the movie so amazing. The movie grossed $3 million because it was originally released on like VHS tape back in the day, okay? And originally, it was going to use material that had been filmed in the Rotterdam, Netherlands, and in Antwerp, Belgium. When Prince saw the footage from those performance clips, he was not satisfied with what the footage looked like, and he was not satisfied with the sound of the live performances. So he had just finished building Paisley Park, and he had shot all those wonderful interludes at Paisley Park. So when the band came home from tour, he put the band in Paisley Park and they reshot all those scenes. That's why that thing looks so in your face. The lighting, the performances, he had scripted everything out. And as I said in Under the Cherry Moon, maybe Prince wasn't a director, but what Prince was great at is when he dropped a new record and he put together a tour for that record, he had a vision in his mind of how he wanted to present his music and image to the world. So when he did Sign of the Times, since it wasn't truly a movie, he basically it was like a tour. And he filmed himself the way you would see him in tour, and the performances are legendary. He drops 11 of the 13 tracks from that double record are in this movie. There's only 2 odd songs that are not from the soundtrack, and it is a masterpiece. Sign of the Times just happens to be my favorite Prince record, so in addition to the record, the movie itself just took it to the top. And folks who hadn't seen Prince perform, when you saw him in Purple Rain, you saw him doing some performances, but what you saw was a movie about Prince. In Sign of the Times, it was pure on performance. It was like watching video after video after video of him performing live, and he was in rare form and he was killing it. If you want to see Prince at his peak and you want to really understand why we love this man, go get your hands on a copy of Sign of the Times and you will be mesmerized. I mean mesmerized, okay? And then last but not least, Prince dropped, probably in my opinion, the weakest film of his projects, which was Graffiti Bridge, and he dropped that in 1990. Let me wet my whistle a little bit here. Graffiti Bridge was also a double LP. And crazy thing about Graffiti Bridge, it was sandwiched between 2 successful projects. He had just come off the Batman project in 1989, where he basically took the Batman movie and made his own CD featuring all those themes in the Batman movie. It is amazing. It's a little bit like what Jay-Z did with American Gangster, where he took scenes from that movie and made a whole album about the movie. Prince did that with Batman, and it has some incredible jams on it, especially Bat Dance, the single with the video that goes along with it. That is just amazing. Prince's vision for that was just spectacular. And then Batman came out in 1989. He dropped Graffiti Bridge in 1990. And then right after that, in 1991, he did the Diamond and Pearl CD. And Diamonds and Pearl is that almost like a comeback CD for Prince, where he got back to the songs that people love, the writing, the themes, the music, just uplifted everybody, and they all jumped back on the Prince bandwagon, although us hardcore fans had never left him, because we love, you know, pretty much all the projects he does. And Diamonds and Pearl put him back in the limelight once again. But in between Batman and Diamonds and Pearls was this movie, Graffiti Bridge. And Graffiti Bridge was another movie that was directed by Prince. And it featured Prince, it featured his NPG band, it featured The Time, it featured Ingrid Chavez, it featured Jill Jones, Robin Power, Tevin Campbell, Mavis Staples, and George Clinton. The movie had a budget of $7 million, but it only grossed $5 million. So he took a $2 million hit on that. Okay? The album went gold, selling over 500,000 copies. So it did not do as well, but the movie itself, it had a little bit of a spiritual vibe. It was a little bit of Purple Rain Part 2, if you will, because he reprised his character of the kid. Mars Day reprised his character as his foil like he was in Purple Rain. And it just wasn't powerful enough or strong enough. There's performance clips by The Time, by him. Tevin Campbell does a jam. Mavis Staples does a jam. You get to hear the Steels, a gospel group, do a jam. So the Graffiti Bridge album was almost like a collaboration of artists, but Prince pretty much wrote all the music for the project. But the movie was uneven. The theme was kind of weak, and the cinematography, again, wasn't where it needed to be to make it an amazing movie. But if you sit back and just watch the movie and take it for what it is, just a movie, and don't connect it to Purple Rain, kind of give it the ability to try to stand on its own, and it's not that bad. It's not great, but it's really not that bad. And what I say to you, it made $5 million. So if I was to put together a movie and it made $5 million, I'd be moonwalking around my studio right about now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just impressed that Prince had the wherewithal in all this prolificness that he had as a musician, literally dropping 40 albums across his career. He still found time to carve out space to do other things that he felt were important to him. And obviously when videos came along and performing on stages as an artist, he just saw film as that next medium, and it was something he wanted to get into, so much so that when he built Paisley Park literally has a big room that you can make as a soundstage, and he filmed all his own videos and stuff there once he got this thing up and running. So he already, you can see the wheels were already turning, and he had this vision in his mind to do bigger and better things. I even believe he formed a Paisley Park Film Company, because he was probably looking to take on other projects, but just never got around to it, as clearly music was his first passion. But you have to love and respect the man's hustle. You have to truly appreciate him for his vision. So many artists come in the game as this one thing and they stay in that lane, and Prince was able to open up many doors and travel through many lanes, and he did most of these things extremely well. Fashion design, being one of the first artists to go out there and do work with the internet, where he sold his product directly to his fans, bypassing the middleman. Just upset the industry when he did that, because the record labels wasn't ready for that. They wasn't having that, and trying to preach master ownership of your own masters so you can control your own destiny. These are all the type of things that Prince was heavy into, and people don't see that part of him because they really know him through the music and not these other avenues. And when he did these 4 films, I think it also gave folks another chance to see a little bit of Prince. So if I had to rank these movies just for me, for my own personal ranking, Purple Rain will go down in the Prince annals as his #1 movie because of what it did for his career and what it meant to the world. My '2 is definitely Sign of the Times, because Sign of the Times, the album speaks to me. The performances in that project were just amazing, and that videos, DVD, however you get it, was just amazing. It is, to me, Prince at his finest as a performer. Then I love Under the Cherry Moon, because first off, it's shot in black and white. Prince is not being a musician. He's really acting and playing a character, if you will. and it's good to see him stretch a little bit beyond of who we think he is, and it's just hilarious. It's just a comedy. The jokes flowing between him and Jerome, and it's that almost like frat boy kiddie humor, but it is funny, okay? And then at the bottom of the heap, I would put Graffiti Bridge, not because the movie's that horrible and it sucks, but just compared to the other 3 movies, I think it's just the 4th movie in that pile. I sit back and I watch it because some of the performances and some of the jams in there just worked so well in that movie. And the theme is, it's uplifting, it's powerful, it's got a little bit of a spiritual message to it. So he did what he had to do to try to make it work for you. So I just wanted to salute Prince on his birthday. June 7th, 2021. We miss you, man. Can't believe it's been 5 years since you stepped away. We still going to keep your legacy alive. We want to definitely send a special shout out to the Williams family. Clarence Williams III. Yo, my man. Link from the Mod Squad. Dude, you know we love you. You was Prince's dad, man. Come on. You know we love you. Just rest easy. You did what you needed to do while you were here. And we love you and respect you for the work you did. This is your boy AJ, doing it as I always do. I actually wanted to shoot this outside, and when I started shooting it outside, the car alarm started ringing and going off, so I had to come inside and do it inside. You would have loved what I had outside, sitting out back under my gazebo. I was living the life. What's happening, squad? It's the brother AJ. I decided to do this Prince Thoughtz. I was going to take it outside. I'm in my backyard, sitting under my gazebo. I live in the Northeast. I'm in New Jersey. It's a crisp 89 degrees out at about 10:30. One of the coolest things about this movie was he collaborated with the keyboardist, composer. That's what happens when you're outside doing it live, okay? Got neighbors out here can't get their car together, and I gotta be in here and deal with this for a minute. So we're gonna let that do its thing for a minute, because I can always edit this out. But this is what happens when you're live on set. You know what I mean? Think we're done? Potentially we're done. So, as I was saying, one of the greatest things that happened with this movie was Prince collaborated with the keyboardist, composer, arranger, Mr. Claire Fisher, whose lush orchestral arrangements brought the sounds in that movie to life, prompting Prince to write in the album liner notes. I have to read this. Prince wrote about Claire Fisher. With special thanks to Claire Fisher for making brighter the colors black and white. And he says that I don't know if I should carry on. Try it for the 3rd time. But it's all good. I just want you to get the message and feel the energy. It's another one of those classic AJ Prince Thoughtz. The brother AJ signing off, saying I hope you enjoy it, and stay tuned, because you never know where I'm going. Always going to bring something with a little flavor for you. Alright? Gotta go. Deuces. Bye-bye.